Hi there, Rick here. Um, this was something that I wasn't going to uh, really make a video on, and then I thought about it, and I changed my mind on it, just because maybe you have this same sort of problem at the company where you work, okay, and you just don't know what to do, okay. Um, I told uh, my coworker Chris about it just because I've known him for about 20 years, right? And yeah, uh, well, I trust him. Okay, um, he's the type of person that I can just someone I can talk to and trust, right? Um, he's a window glazer like myself too. Okay. So I used to work for this vinyl window company for about a total of, I guess, 3 years. Okay, and one day, okay, the manager calls me from the office upstairs and says, "Hey Rick, we made a mistake with your accountant. We have a check for you for $1,800." Okay, um, so I was $1,800 richer in one day. Okay, um, I started to think about it a bit. How could you make an accounting mistake as high as $1,800, right? Unless you are doing something crooked, right? So, um, all I can think of, okay, was what had happened was, okay, there was an independent auditor that came into our office that day. Okay, this independent auditor, okay, they do not work for the company, not like the accountant that works for, well, the big vinyl window company that I work for, right? Remember, they're doing about $2.5 million to $3 million in sales a year. Okay, and we have a time clock. Okay, and okay, when you come in, okay, to work, you have to swipe your card. Okay, when you take your lunch break, okay, you have to swipe your card, and then swipe it back afterwards when you go back to work. Okay, when you leave at the end of the day, you have to swipe your time card. Okay, um, so I remember one time, okay, I was just coming back. I had worked maybe, I don't know, um, an hour and a half of overtime. I was coming back in the service van, and then when I got into the bay, okay, the boss was there to meet me. He said, "Don't worry about swiping your card. I saw you coming around the building. I've already swiped your card for you." Okay, and I thought that wasn't quite right, right? Because it's my responsibility to swipe my own card, right? But he swiped it for me. But who knows? Maybe he swiped it at 5 o'clock, right? And I had worked the extra hour and a half. I showed up at the bay at about 6:30. Okay, and so I think remember I told you that, okay, it's very important sometimes that an independent auditor audits the company compared to the accountant that does the bookkeeping for the company and reports the auditing, okay? Because, the accountant, okay, I'm gonna go a little bit off topic here, okay? I was watching this YouTube video on this company in South Korea. It was called Daewoo, okay? And they were falsifying some of their sales in their company. And the accountant was involved in it. And the accountant, I think they got banned for a few years because they were, reporting false sales. Okay, they were doing something crooked basically in their auditing. Okay, and so they got suspended for a number of years. I don't know if they had to pay a fine. Okay, but back to the story. Okay, So this lady that came in, okay, um, she was an independent auditor, okay, and she done an audit on, well, the vinyl window I was working for, and realized that, um, Rick, okay, um, uh, you own him an extra $1,800, okay. I cannot help but to laugh a little bit, just because if the accountant cannot, like, I can understand maybe you're off, I don't know, $40 or $100, but if your accounting procedure and you're shortchanging your worker as much as $1,800, um, maybe accounting is not for you. Okay, you should go do something else, because uh, you cannot do accountant. Uh, you just basically don't know what the hell you're doing as accountant. Put it that way, okay? If you cannot do account, you have to remember you've gone to school for this. You got a license for this, right? And you can't even balance somebody's accountant. One of your employees, you know, accountant properly. Okay, so I felt that the boss was swiping my card, okay, um, and I was still working extra hours, okay, because I was working overtime, right, and when I would get, okay, back to the warehouse, okay, I would swipe my card, right, and then the person looking at the time clock realized that, hey, this guy's time clock, his card is being swiped twice, right? Um, and she figured out, okay, how much, this person, okay, I how much money I was owed extra from all the times that, okay, I was uh, I was shortchanged extra hours. Okay, remember now he's cheating on the hours, so he's cheating the tax man now too. Okay, because you're paying less taxes now too. Okay, because you're cheating on your workers' hours now. Okay, so if he was doing this, okay, for the other workers too in the warehouse. Remember, we got 16 workers in the warehouse, and you just times that by 16, it comes out to around, I don't know, $26,000. Okay, and I call this dark money. So there's about $26,000 of dark money, okay, in the warehouse now. Okay, and who knows? Maybe, okay, the owner, okay, he's saying to the accountant now that works for the company, I'll give you $5,000 if you do false reporting for me in my accountant, and I'll let you pocket $5,000, and I'll take the other $21,000 for myself. Okay, you have to remember that's quite a bit of money. Okay, we're talking $21,000, not to mention the money that you're cheating from the tax man. Okay, so Revenue Canada would get really angry too if they found out, he was doing this. Okay, which I feel that, yeah, he was doing it, just because, how can you be that bad of an accountant? Okay, shortchanging your worker $1,800. Okay, and remember too, okay, like I used to have workers too, and there's apps that you can get. Okay, you punch in the amount of hours that your workers work, it figures out how much provincial tax, how much federal tax that you have to pay to the government. Okay, so it hasn't been, you can't make it any easier than that. Okay, all you have to do is figure out, okay, my worker worked this many hours. You just punch the hours into a box, spits out all the all the other information that you need. Okay, and maybe you have this sort of problem at your warehouse. Okay, or with your employer. Okay, if I would have asked Farm G, okay, Farm G would have probably told me, okay, that, okay, the boss is cheating on the hours. Okay, and one of the workers reported it to the labor board. Okay, and then they got a time clock put into the warehouse. Okay. Um, that's why too. I remember the boss always coming down like, you know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes uh, before the workers had to go home. Okay, and yeah, he was ranting at the workers. Okay, for packing up, 5 minutes early or 10 minutes early, and standing around for 5-10 minutes. Okay, by the exit door. Okay, because they had to wait until 5 o'clock. Um, sorry, 3 o'clock, um, before they could leave the warehouse. Okay, because we started like 7 in the morning, right? So we finished at about uh, around 3 o'clock. Okay, and he was very salty, I believe, just because. Well, you report your boss to the labor board, and you have to get a time clock, put into the warehouse. Okay, now you're angry, at your workers. Okay, um, I had nothing to do with it. Okay, I didn't report him. Okay, like I didn't even know that he was doing something crooked. Okay, he was messing around with my time card. Okay, um, but like I mean, it's it's stealing, it's embezzling, right? You're embezzling money from your workers, right? Not to mention you're cheating the tax man too, right? Um, so I don't know. Okay, like I mean, this independent auditor who came in, um, maybe she told Revenue Canada, oh, the boss, he's cheating the workers on his hours. He's cheating on his taxes, right? Um, you have to remember this is a fair amount of money because we're talking about what, around $26,000 now. Okay, that you're embezzling off of the workers, right? Um, so I told this story to Chris, my coworker, and yeah, he just kind of smiled a bit, right? You know, and I don't like to think that my industry is like this, right? I value hard work. Okay, I value hard workers. Okay, um, and I worked hard for my boss. Okay, I wasn't fooling around. Okay, and when you find out that your boss is doing stuff like this, like I mean, how motivated are you going to be, working for your boss or for the company for that matter, right? You know, think some other people might just, that's it, I quit, and go up and tell the manager what you think about the company, what he's doing, right? And just leave, right? Because he's embezzling money off you, right? He's stealing money off you. You have to remember, if it was an employee he was doing this to, a company, yeah, they would get charged, right? I heard of this story just was it about 6 months ago. There was Amazon drivers. There was some in the Lower Mainland here. They were stealing products out of their back of their van, right? And then they were bringing it home and they were selling it on Craigslist or eBay or something like that, right? I believe that they probably got charged for that, right? You know, um, the boss and manager is stealing too, stealing off their workers. We're not talking $100 or $200. We're talking like $26,000, right? Fair amount of money. Even though you work for a big, well-established company, right? You still have to sometimes double check your hours. Okay. The boss is embezzling money off you, right? Um, talk to the shop foreman, right? Um, you remember too that you can still probably get fired for this too, right? Because you're blowing the whistle on your boss, right? Because he's embezzling money. Okay, he finds out that you're trying to find out why why your hours don't really match what you should have got paid for that 2-week period, right? But you know, these sorts of things, they do go on here in the city, right? Even even big, well-established companies, okay, that are doing like $3 million in sales a year, right? Are doing stuff like this, right? Double check your hours. There are apps out there, okay, that you can punch in, you know, the amount of hours that you worked, right? Even your overtime hours. It'll work it out for you, okay? How much, you know, you should be making, okay?